Imagine going about your day only to see everyone looking at an unusual sight in the sky with a shocked expression on their faces. When you look up, you see the same bizarre spectacle, a dark mass floating mid-air above the water. This shocking view has raised many speculations, with some saying it's the oil leakage from an alien ship, and others making references to the Dementors from the Harry Potter series. What exactly was the dark floating mass? Why did it appear in the sky? Join us as we uncover the truth behind the usual sight seen by everyone above Sydney. The floating dark mass in daylight Sydney. Many people were perplexed by an unexpected sight in the skies above Sydney in February. It was visible as a wispy black mass floating above the ocean. Many people are left wondering what the strange mass might have been after witnessing the amazing scene that was captured on camera and shared on various social media platforms. A dark mass appears to be hovering above the sea in midair, distinct from the other clouds above it, according to the footage that has since gone viral. The man from Sydney who captured the event on camera said it appeared to be liquid metal and that it wasn't a cloud. Thousands of individuals who were equally captivated by the viral film left comments, many of them offering their opinions. While some claimed the strange mass looked like gasoline spilled from a UFO, others thought it was probably just air pollution. Numerous people made comparisons to elements from the Harry Potter books, such as the Dementor, a shadowy, soul-like figure that would glide through the air in the obscured, a young wizard or witch whose magic was suppressed through physical or psychological abuse and resulted in the development of a dark, parasitic magical force. Some individuals expressed their belief that it was a component of the Bluebeam Project, a refuted conspiracy theory that asserts that NASA and the UN are collaborating with the Antichrist to stage the Second Coming and bring the world under one religion to create a new world order. Most concluded the mass was a scud cloud, a type of cloud that appears at low heights above ground. It's usually detached and of irregular form. A commenter claimed it was low-level moisture that happens whenever there's a storm, and was a cloud. Others weren't so sure. One commenter didn't think it was a cloud. The commenter said they Googled scud cloud and looked at many images, but none of them looked like the cloud they were seeing. While acknowledging that it was indeed a strange-looking formation, Martin Singh, a senior lecturer at Monash University's School of Earth, Atmosphere and Environment, clarified that it was in fact a scud cloud, or at least something akin to one. Martin explained that scud clouds can sometimes form when rain evaporates beneath a larger storm. This adds moisture to the air, which then condenses into new clouds. He said that these scuds aren't connected to a strong, rising air current, updraft, like other storm clouds, which is why they often look patchy and uneven. He clarified that scud clouds, which are somewhat common, frequently have a wispy and broken appearance, but the one in the video is quite extreme. He offered a few possible explanations for why this might have happened. Martin suggested that two factors might be making the cloud appear so dark. First, he said the position of the sun likely played a role. Second, he thought the cloud's closeness to the observer might be giving an unusually detailed view of the cloud's darker edges. Additionally, it appears to be moving very swiftly, he noted. The scud cloud most likely emerged in the sky on a Saturday night, following a powerful rainstorm that passed over Sydney, even though it was shared on a Sunday. At Kingsford Smith Airport, there was intense rain and wind gusts of up to 50 kilometers per hour during that weekend. The Central Coast, the Hunter Valley, and Newcastle were also impacted. That is, however, not the only baffling thing that has appeared in the Sydney skies of recent. Stargazers in the Australian city were greeted with a sight that left them confused. A caterpillar in the Sydney sky. On the evening of March 3rd, lights were visible in several Sydney areas, including Robbie, Riverstone, and Peakhurst, from 9:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. This left many stargazers in complete disbelief as they described what they thought looked like a caterpillar in the night sky. Astronomer John T. Horner of the University of Southern Queensland stated that although the lights confused some Sydneysiders, they are Starlink satellites and residents could expect to see a lot more of them. Horner explained that the lights weren't just one or two satellites, but a whole group orbiting together called a constellation. He said there are already over 5,500 of these satellites launched by Elon Musk, and that number is expected to rapidly increase to a whopping 40,000 in the coming years. Higher speed internet is made available to people below by the satellites that are launched into the sky. According to Horner, it may take some time for them to set up and achieve their correct height following launch. Horner used an airplane analogy to explain the satellite visibility. He said just like a plane takes time to climb to its cruising altitude, these satellites are gradually reaching their final positions. At that higher altitude, they become much easier to see, and because they're grouped, they appear as a line of dots moving across the sky, resembling a centipede or caterpillar. The satellites have generated controversy, with some claiming that they have other negative effects on the environment, including light pollution. Horner acknowledged the benefits of these satellite constellations, particularly for improving internet access. However, he raised concerns about their negative impact. He argued that these satellites are polluting the night sky with unwanted light, and this glow is something people have no control over. He emphasized the cultural significance of a night sky for some people, and how these constellations disrupt that connection. When a red ring appears in the skies of a town in northern Italy, everyone is baffled about what exactly it could be. A red ring in the Italian sky. For just a few milliseconds, a strange disk of red light hung in the sky above the northern Italian town of Possegno before it abruptly vanished. This made many wonder if they had seen a UFO or something alien. Although the phenomenon was brief and many people missed it, nature photographer Walter Binotto was able to take a picture of the bright halo known as Elve in the sky above the town. About 175 miles southeast of Possegno, during a strong thunderstorm, this bright halo was visible. This echoes what photographer Binotto thinks that an EMP from a massive thunderstorm close to Ancona had caused the Elve. However, the enormous ring, which measured about 225 miles in diameter, appeared to loom over the town due to forced perspective. Known as an emission of light in very low-frequency perturbations due to electromagnetic pulse sources, or ELV, the fluorescent frisbee is an atmospheric disturbance that results from lightning striking the ionosphere of Earth, which is the ionized region of the upper atmosphere that is located between 50 and 400 miles above sea level. Excited nitrogen atoms in the ionosphere emit the red color. Since ELVs are short-lived, they are often only visible to satellites orbiting the Earth and were first found in 1990. Binotto's latest photo is probably the best picture of one from the ground. Like something from celestial lore, a halo appeared above the city of Belfast in Northern Ireland, leaving onlookers enamored by its spectacular sight. A rare halo above Northern Ireland. Above Belfast Botanic Gardens, at least 3 distinct optical phenomena can be seen. Photographed by an astronomer, Alan Fitzsimmons, at Queen's University Belfast in Northern Ireland, the image displays a stunning array of bright arcs and halos orbiting the sun. Each one is created by sunlight refracting through millions of carefully aligned ice crystals in the upper atmosphere. When powerful winds position the tiny hexagonal crystals in the same direction, the light they wrap combines to create lines of light. The crystals refract light similarly to a prism. A 22-degree halo, or the large circle that surrounds the sun, 2 sundogs, or the bright points on either side of the 22-degree halo, and a complete parhelix circle, or the line that bisects the circle, which is the rarest of this kind of phenomenon, are all visible in the image. A supralateral arc in a circumscribed halo, which constitute the eyelids above and below the 22-degree halo, may also be visible in the image. While each of these occurrences can occur occasionally, it is very uncommon to witness them all at once. The rare event happened for around half an hour. Alaska is no stranger to beautiful sightings in the sky, however. A spiral light that appeared during an auroral display left many in shock. A spiral blue light in Alaska. An unsettling pale blue spiral emerged in the night sky, providing Alaskan stargazers with a unique sight. It surfaced amid a show of the northern lights, which are vivid green bands caused by charged particles from the sun interacting with Earth's atmosphere. Though it appears like a UFO or doorway to another world, the strange spiral has a much more common explanation. This beautiful vortex of blue light briefly stole the show from a powerful auroral display as it emerged in the night sky above Alaska. However, the strange spiral-shaped item was unrelated to the polar lights that were dancing. Just 3 hours before the spiral's appearance, a SpaceX rocket that had taken off from California had spilled surplus fuel. The fast-spinning, separated second stage of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket created a bright spiral out of frozen rocket fuel, and that frozen fuel was visible in the night sky. These kinds of lights can continue for a few minutes before the fuel crystals that are frozen melt away. Due to Elon Musk's space ambitions, similar occurrences were seen over Hawaii in January and New Zealand last summer. According to space physicist Dr. Don Hampton, a research associate professor at the University of Alaska Fairbanks Geophysical Institute, rocket fuel occasionally needs to be discarded. Dr. Hampton explained that when rockets release fuel at high altitudes, the fuel freezes into ice crystals. He said that if the ice cloud is in sunlight while observers on the ground are in darkness, it can appear as a large, sometimes swirling cloud. The SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket lifted out from California's Vandenberg Space Force Base. Since it was a polar launch, a sizable portion of Alaska could see it. The cargo of the Falcon 9 consisted of 51 spacecraft that were being launched as part of the Transporter-7 mission. The water vapor in the rocket's exhaust fluids led a spiral to develop early the next morning, around 3 hours after launch. According to experts, the spiral form is caused by the upper stage of the Falcon 9 venting extra fuel as it descends slowly into the water. Following its ejection, the rocket fuel crystallizes and solidifies into a spiral configuration that is illuminated by the sun. The fuel dump was timed precisely to allow for visibility over Alaska. According to Dr. Hampton, this is how the incredibly cool-looking spiral effect was accomplished. Although uncommon, Dr. Hampton reported seeing similar incidents roughly 3 times. The swirly cloud's appearance was widely discussed after being captured in time-lapse on the Geophysical Institute's all-sky camera. Dr. Hampton acknowledged that the spiral had caused a minor online tumult. Photographers who were out to capture the Northern Lights shared their images on social media, and they sparked a lot of rumors about an alien invasion. This is not the first SpaceX launch that has led viewers to believe that UFOs may be there. Another spiral was spotted in January over Hawaii's Big Island. The Subaru telescope, which is positioned atop Mauna Kea, captured it on camera. According to researchers, it originated from the military GPS satellite launch that took place earlier in Florida on a SpaceX rocket. Those observing a strange blue spiral that crossed the skies of New Zealand in June of last year were perplexed and believed it to be of alien origin. The gas spiral plume illuminated the sky above Nelson, the southernmost city of New Zealand, and extended 466 miles southward to Stewart Island. Subsequently, specialists discovered that the anomaly was brought on by space debris created by humans, specifically a malfunctioning rocket that Musk's business had launched. SpaceX achieved a record-breaking 61 launches 2 years ago, almost doubling its 31 liftoffs from the previous year. It had launched 24 rockets into space by April of 2023. A bright red streak of light across Denmark's skies left many at a loss of what it could be. A red line across the Danish skies. The sky above portions of Scandinavia showed a brilliant crimson ribbon of light, following a strong solar storm that struck Earth. However, the vivid red ring was something far more uncommon than an aurora. The streak was most clearly visible above Denmark. It looked like a river of hazy red light that stretched throughout the night sky. On March 23, 2023, astronomer Ruslan Mrsalyakov captured an amazing image of the unusual light display over Måns Klint, a group of limestone cliffs on the Danish island of Mån in the Baltic Sea. Rather, the light originates from oxygen molecules in the high atmosphere that have been overheated by the huge electric current loop that encircles Earth, known as the ring current system. The unique occurrence is called a stable auroral red arc, SR, yet it is neither stable nor an aurora despite the name. SARs emerge when Earth's ring current system, a giant loop of electric current that surrounds our globe, superheats atmospheric gas. Auroras, on the other hand, occur when solar radiation excites gas molecules in the upper atmosphere. When Earth's magnetosphere is weakened by solar storms, the likelihood of both events increases. The light originates from oxygen molecules in the high atmosphere that have been overheated by the huge electric current loop that encircles Earth, known as the ring current system. The surprise coronal mass ejection, or CME, which was a large, rapidly moving blob of plasma and magnetic field ejected from the sun and spit out of a massive hole wider than 20 Earths, coincided with the strongest geomagnetic storm to hit Earth in 6 years. High-energy particles from solar wind and solar storms escape Earth's magnetosphere and excite gas molecules in the upper atmosphere during auroras. This produces multicolored lights that swirl and fluctuate in intensity over time. Distinct atoms, when excited, emit distinct hues, which account for the many colors of light. The ring current system, which envelops the magnetosphere, releases energy during SRs that heats the upper atmosphere's gas and causes it to shine aurora-like. Since only oxygen is heated during a SR for unclear reasons, these events always emit the same shade of red. SARs are quite common, but since they are too faint and our eyes are not sensitive enough to the wavelength of red light they generate, they are typically undetectable to humans. Only when powerful solar storms weaken the magnetosphere, allowing more heat from the ring current system to enter the upper atmosphere, can massive streaks like the one over Denmark become apparent. There were more strange light displays seen during the recent solar storm besides the SR over Denmark. Parts of the United States and the United Kingdom were also able to witness the aurora-like phenomenon known as Steve, which is a long ribbon of colored light that lingers in the sky for up to an hour. There is evidence to suggest that SAR arcs and Steve are linked phenomena. During around 30 minutes in March 2015, sky watchers in New Zealand witnessed the gradual transformation of a bright red SAR into a Steve event. Rainbow clouds that appeared across Finland, Iceland, and Norway left onlookers in complete awe of their beauty and awe. A rainbow sky above the Arctic. Uncommon rainbow clouds adorn the skies above Finland, Iceland, and Norway over the Arctic Circle. The event was photographed by Jónína Gudrun Óskarsdóttir, an amateur photographer from Iceland, and was caused by extremely low temperatures in the stratosphere. Above the Arctic, these rainbow-colored clouds were seen gleaming in the night sky. Only at temperatures below -114 degrees Fahrenheit can the clouds, often referred to as polar stratospheric clouds, or PSCs, develop in the stratosphere, the second layer of Earth's atmosphere. The stratosphere is normally too dry for clouds to develop, but at very low temperatures, widely separated water molecules start to combine to create tiny ice crystals, which eventually turn into clouds. The rainbow-colored clouds are caused by sunlight being scattered as it passes through these crystal clouds, producing a variety of light wavelengths. The clouds seem brightest when the sun is below the horizon. Yet because of their extraordinary altitude, sunlight can still strike the crystals and disperse over an observer. Sometimes, little patches of low-level clouds will exhibit the effect. When it occurs further up in the stratosphere, the show is far more intense. When water vapor penetrates the stratosphere and the temperature drops sufficiently for the vapor to condense there, PSCs are created. Ice crystals only form in the Arctic when temperatures drop to -114 degrees, which is an uncommon occurrence due to the extreme dryness of this layer of the atmosphere. PSCs exist at altitudes of around 19 to 24 kilometers, higher up than normal clouds. At high latitudes during the winter or polar night, there is little to no solar radiation, which results in sharp reductions in temperature. Since it depends on a lot of water droplets or ice crystals of similar sizes, low temperatures in the stratosphere, and thin clouds, this event is rather uncommon. Rainbow clouds, albeit beautiful, are bad news for the climate. Earth is protected from the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation by the ozone layer, which is destroyed by the chemical reactions it promotes. The chemical components of chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, which are emitted into the atmosphere by aerosols and refrigerators, react with ozone when tiny ice crystals are present. These interactions result in the ozone hole above the South Pole, where PSCs are more prevalent than in the Arctic due to lower stratospheric temperatures. The sight of bright green lasers in the Hawaiian night sky left many spectators completely bamboozled. Digital rain in Hawaii. An unsettling sight was seen by a camera mounted on top of Mauna Kea, the highest peak in Hawaii, a visible wall of green lasers sweeping across the sky. The lines were short, about a second, and came one after the other. However, they sparked analogies on the internet to digital rain. The National Astronomical Observatory of Japan, NAOJ, camera captured the light show, which happened on January 28, 2023, and has been compared to the green code from the Matrix. These comparisons, however, do not prove that we are a part of the Matrix. In its initial YouTube video, NAOJ claimed that the lasers originated from NASA's ICESat-2 satellite, which scans and maps the Earth's surface in 3 dimensions to monitor the amount of ice in the cryosphere, or the area of the planet covered in solid precipitation, which includes snow, glaciers, sea ice, lake and river ice, icebergs, and shelves of ice. The Advanced Topographic Laser Altimeter (ATLAS) instrument on board ICESat-2 is responsible for the laser beams, which NASA describes as bright green on the visible spectrum. If you felt that resolved the puzzle, then rethink your thoughts. The same year, on February 6, NAOJ added the following startling note to the YouTube description of the video. NASA confirmed that its satellite was not the source of the green lasers over Hawaii. Rather, it was most likely a Chinese satellite. The NAOJ update clarified that the green lasers seen over Hawaii were not caused by NASA's ICESat-2 ATLAS instrument, as previously suspected. Dr. Anthony Martino, a NASA scientist working on the project, reportedly stated it originated from another satellite. The update continued by mentioning that Dr. Alvaro Ivanov and colleagues ran simulations to identify the culprit. They concluded the ACDL instrument on China's Daqi-1 AEM satellite was the most likely source. The NAOJ team expressed appreciation for the help in identifying the true source and apologized for any confusion caused to the ICESat-2 team. Social media users were going crazy about the video of the green lasers over Hawaii and the possibility that the source was a Chinese satellite, possibly even one used for scientific study. After the United States shot down a purported Chinese surveillance balloon last year, which China claims was intended for civilian research, tensions were high. Daqi-1, which was launched 2 years ago, is meant to monitor atmospheric pollution with lasers, much like ICESat-2. According to a news release issued in 2021 by the state-owned China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation, Daqi-1 is capable of tracking the concentration of carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and ozone, as well as fine particle pollution like PM2.5. China intends to create additional Daqi satellites for environmental observation, according to the agency. When a solid ribbon of light started appearing around U.S. skies, many were left wondering what exactly it was. A light similar to an aurora shines in U.S. skies. Early in 2023, during a significant solar storm, observers in numerous U.S. states reported seeing Steve, an unusual streak of light like an aurora. It is a bizarre mauve light accompanied by a green blob that appeared to the west of an aurora. A solid ribbon of light can hang in the air for up to an hour due to a rare phenomenon known as strong thermal emission velocity enhancement, or STEVE. During solar storms, a river of hot plasma or ionized gas breaches Earth's weaker magnetosphere and forms the ribbon. The same gas stays excited and consistently emits the same amount of light because the plasma flow is uniform and steady. Scientists are still unsure of why Steve can occur farther from Earth's poles than auroras typically do. Steve is like a bashful, distant relative of the aurora, but it's not an aurora. Despite having a unique flare of its own, it appears as though it could fit in with the family. Usually manifested as a long, thin, purple and white arc, the phenomenon can also occasionally be accompanied by a structure like a green picket fence. Compared to most auroras, it is smaller, fainter, and occurs at lower latitudes. It is also more unpredictable. It may be a case of accidental space physics to see Steve. Since the initial sighting in 2015, photographer Donna Locke has taken over 20 photos of Steve, possibly the most of any person ever, and is even more likely to have seen the ribbon of light. Not even a single one of the field's top researchers has witnessed the light phenomenon. Researchers studying Steve have benefited greatly from the assistance of citizen scientists like Locke, satellite data, and sky cameras. These resources have helped them understand when and how to identify Steve. A citizen science initiative named Aurorasaurus facilitates the reporting of sightings by the general public and links scientists and amateur photographers. Researchers, photographers, and citizen scientists have discovered what makes Steve unique since his official identification in 2018. According to analysts, there may be good chances for people to see Steve in the coming years, as solar activity is predicted to increase. In the United States, a few people captured the event on camera during last week's strong geomagnetic storm. Although Aurora and Steve chasers may find it challenging to identify such storms with more than a day or two's notice, they can monitor the Space Weather Prediction Center for potentially intriguing geomagnetic activity. The colorful circles in the Finnish sky cause many to wonder just what was responsible for it. The answer is interesting or disappointing, depending on who you ask. Colored circles in Finland's sky. When a picture of concentric circles in rainbow colors was taken in Finland, there seemed to be a certain something in the air. It transpires that the something in question was pollen. Mikko Pajusa took these striking pictures close to his Turku residence. Pollen coronas, or multicolored rings like these, are created when sunlight bounces off thousands of pollen grains in the atmosphere. As a result, a diffraction pattern is produced, in which different light wavelengths cancel each other out and only permit the observer to see specific colors. Additionally, individual grains receive light and show up in the picture as brilliant spots. The pine trees in the picture, Pinus sylvestris, are the source of the pollen. These trees float because of their air sacs. Only when pollen concentrations are extremely high do pollen coronas form, and they are only visibly apparent during full moon or solar phases when they are partially obscured. When sunlight strikes the surface of the pollen, it scatters or splits into its constituent wavelengths, producing the effect. Only some colors are visible to the observer because some wavelengths clash or interfere with one another. We call this pattern of diffraction. Pollen coronas are only seen when there is a significant concentration of pollen and are best viewed when the sun or full moon is partially covered. Pajusa and other photographers frequently utilize filters to reduce extraneous light and enhance the contrast between the colors and their natural hues. Experts are unaware of the precise reason for the little bumps that occasionally stretch farther away from the sun than the rest of the ring in the kaleidoscopic rings. What do you think about these strange occurrences in our skies? Do not forget to share your thoughts in the comments. To see more exciting ones like these, share and subscribe to the channel for more intriguing videos.